Okay, let's finish this, my little friends. So we just showed that, Isis and, I mean, not Isis, but Tanit, this false goddess of Africa, and is connected with all these ones. Okay, I just showed that. All right, so we just went through all this. Okay, but this is the one that I wanted to read and kind of start off from. Okay, Isis, nurturing mother. Hathor, the celestial cow, was an ancient Egyptian false goddess, probably morphed from Bat. She is known early on all her full cow with a sun disk between her horns. Here's horns again. Later she appeared as a woman with a sun disk between cow horns, pictured right. She was the patron of music, dance, and sexual delight, also associated with cosmetics and incense. Now, a few videos ago, I was talking about CERN and stuff. That machine is built as a musical instrument. So it's no coincidence these specific false gods and goddesses have to do with music as well. I mean, sound. In many ways, Isis absorbed the qualities of Hathor, but added the dimension of loving wife and mother. As mother of the falcon-headed false god Horus, she is often pictured holding a suckling infant. The fierce false goddess, the Lady of Terror, has gradually disappeared. With the rise of Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the false goddess disappeared almost completely. The name Queen of Heaven was applied to Mary, the virginal mother of Jesus, wearing a mantle of stars, often pictured holding or suckling infant Jesus. In Mexico, Our Lady Guadalupe continued the heritage of Aztec Mother Earth false goddess Tanatazin. However, the Reformation downplayed the role of Mary and outlawed statues of her or the saints as idolatry in Protestant churches. The sea is still referred to as a female, though the figurehead on boats has disappeared. The term Mother Earth and Mother Nature survive, though in most uses they engender none of their original aspect. Many of the areas where the false goddess cults once flourished now practice extensive discrimination against women that has become accepted as part of the culture. Okay. Now this is why I will, because everything that we just read, or everything I went through in the last video, I just thumbed through these false goddesses, how they connect to this Neith, this Ashtaroth, this same stuff. Now we're going to get into the evil eye. It's curious, however, the past inhabits the present. The eye in the hand is a good example. It's currently found in corporate logos, music promotions, edgy fashion, scary movies like Pan's Labyrinth, but the history of the symbol is complicated and global. Perhaps the symbol works because it's arresting. It combines two of our most powerful data receptors, but the two don't belong together. It's not possible to have an eye in a hand or to see through a hand. So the image conjures up something beyond normal life. In that sense, the Second Life logo, which features the eye in the hand, is very close to the historical roots of the symbol that is clearly connected to something beyond life. It's hard to talk about the eye in the hand without also considering the evil eye. While the ancient artifacts that include the eye in the hand don't necessarily invoke a protective charm against the evil eye, the current charms certainly do. Currently, people have two popular choices in the charm to ward off the evil eye charm or the Hamasa hand. The blue glass eye as the luck is a false god. The lucky eye, the evil eye, promises to protect the bearer from negative energy such as resentment or envy, as well as general misfortunes such as accidents and disease. The concept of the evil eye, the belief that others have the power to curse you by giving you a malevolent stare, is widespread in the Middle East, Africa, India, and Central America, North America, South Asia, and Europe, especially in the Mediterranean area. Damage from an evil eye can include withering, sickness, even death. Even those who don't believe in the evil eye may refer to the concept in saying, like, she gave me the evil eye, or if looks could kill, I'd be dead now. Because the evil eye is generally thought to be blue, the charms that are meant to protect the bearer are usually blue as well. The other popular protective talisman is the eye in the hand of the charm, known as Hamsa, Arabic, Hamesh, Hebrew, Hamsa, Hindu, Mano Ponderosa, Italian, or helping hand, Hoodoo. In Jewish folk tradition, it is known as the hand of Miriam, the sister of Moses. Here's Moses again, I'm telling you. In some Muslim areas, it is commonly called the hand of Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad. Despite Islam's official ban on talismans, some Catholic groups refer to it as the hand of Mary, the mother of Jesus. I didn't know any of this. This is crazy. Hamasa hands come in a very wide variety of forms, some very male, some very female. Some include other symbols in the fingers and palm. Most point down, but some point up. There's a great debate over the origin of the evil eye in a hand. Some say it comes from the white Tara, the Hindu representation of motherly protection and generosity, who is often pictured with eyes in her forehead, hands, and feet. In some images, she holds the lotus of compassion in one hand. Others connect the Hamasa to Hathor, the Egyptian Earth Mother, sometimes pictured as a woman wearing a red dress and the headdress of a cow's horns, other times as a cow with a sacred eye, other times the Milky Way. The ancient Greeks morphed Hathor into Aphrodite. The Romans made her into Venus. The Phoenicians used the hand of Tanit, a powerful female sky false goddess, to ward off evil. A fierce warrior, she was sometimes depicted in the head of a lion. Tanit's equivalents, Lord Jesus, include Ashtaroth, Anat, Inanna, all powerful females associated with love, fertility, and war. Since we seem to have a female heavenly connection with Hathor, Tanit, and others, and it's interesting to note that the Arabic origin of the name stars Betelgeuse, Rigel, and Bellatrix, all in the constellation Orion. Comes from mistranslated origin of Bat al-Jazar, I don't know, meaning the hand of the central one, referring to the mysterious and powerful female entity who kneels in the night sky with the Milky Way at her shoulder. Comes from the Arabic, meaning the foot of the central one. Another star in the constellation means a fierce female warrior, which suited her character in the Harry Potter stories. And this is interesting because this, apparently in the Japanese, I think that's Japanese or Chinese, they see Orion totally different than what we do. But as you've seen in the last video or two, we were talking about that this false virgin mother goddess has the male part as well. She couldn't create, apparently it could not create the universe without having the male part. So no matter what, this false god that they worship so highly is androgynous. Okay. The eye in the hand also has a new world history. If you look at the images associated with the eye in the hand on your computer, you'll come across several pre-Columbian North American. The most famous is the engraved Gorget from Moundville, Alabama, featuring a hand with an eye. Here we are in close Tennessee. The hand is surrounded by two intertwined, knotted horned rattlesnakes. A similar piece, also from Moundville, includes the hand with the eye, but leaves out the snakes and places the hand between a symbol of a cross inside concentric circles at the top and what looks like an earthen mound at the bottom. The two Moundville Gorgets shown in the illustrations are quite similar. Both have concentric circles at the top and a link to the eye in the hand. However, the illustration from Vernon James Knight's book detailing the finds of 1905 excavation area has a slightly different design inside the circles and emits a mound at the bottom. Other pieces found in the southeastern U.S. include the hand and the eye in different though related forms. Although designs on the Mississippian gorgets look similar to the modern day Hamasa hands, there is no indication that the North American pieces had the same function. I believe they did. I don't care what anybody says. I believe it is the same thing. There's so much proof over and over and over with these. They all worship the same thing. They lined their buildings to these false gods up with the stars exactly with Orion's belt. Function for those who wore it. Between 500 and 15 AD, the Mississippian culture included trade-like settlements that ranged from Wisconsin to the Gulf of Mexico, but after the arrival of the Europeans, many of the Mississippian settlements failed due to the disease and warfare. And the flat-top mounds typical of their cities were destroyed by the settlers. However, many anthropologists now believe that the hand constellation made up of the lower half of Orion was considered a portal to that other world in southern eastern U.S. cosmology. Mississippian Mayan cosmology, the hand constellation of the Milky Way. The stars that make up Orion's belt form the rest of the served hand. Like on another plane, Indians also saw a star grouping they called the hand in the bottom half of what we call Orion. In researching some Mississippian sites, experts have suggested that marks on the palm of the hand symbolize points where the spirit may enter or leave the body. The snakes in the Mountainville pieces have been identified as the tie snakes, horned serpents that play an important part in the oral history of tribes from Great Lakes to southeastern woodlands. These great serpents were powerful beings from the underworld who were in constant battle with the forces of the upper world, usually represented by the Thunderers, Falcon Men. The combination of these two opposite forces resulted in the winged horned serpents that wheeled around the center of the world in swastika, powering the motion of the world through the energy of their opposition. According to the southeastern ceremonial complex, the hand and the eye motif was common in Mississippian symbolism and may be related to the Oji motif, suggesting it represents a portal to the other world, the road across the sky. For many ancient North American, Central American, and South American people, the Milky Way was the path to the dead that took to the underworld. The Mayans saw the Milky Way as having 4 arms that spread out across the world. At the center of the Milky Way, the 3 hearthstones were placed at the moment of creation. These 3 stones are part of the constellation we know as Orion. They become the portal through which the dead enter the Milky Way, the great river of stars that flows next to the hearthstone. The Apache believed that Yolkai-Nalan, the feared false goddess of death and the afterlife, controlled the paths of the souls after death. The road to the underworld that we call the Milky Way passed over her shoulders. That was the same thing that Neith did in Egypt. So, if we put all these parts together, it seems fairly defensible that we have a mound builder piece that makes reference to a hand constellation that serves as a portal to the other world, the boundary between this life and the beginning of the next, and is a logo for Second Life. No Second Life. It's impossible. Well, Jesus, Yahushua, Jesus will have a second life. Praise Jesus. It's impossible to tell how much of the symbolism in the New World continues, overlaps, or reflects with the Old World. Perhaps the two develop along parallel lines without ever intersecting. Perhaps not. Certainly the modern Hamasa charm, which is most popular around the Mediterranean, bears an eerie resemblance to the ancient resemblance to the ancient mound builder Gorget. Even more interesting is the invocation of the very powerful female figure, Mary, Fatima, Miriam, for protection. It's hard not to see parallels between them and the central one who guards the portal to the underworld and bears the path of the dead on her shoulders. Okay. This is about a Sophia, and I think that we'll be done. An ideal world would be one where humans could have a more expansive understanding of time. They could remember the past so as not to repeat it. They could see each other as children and elderly simultaneously, said Sophia. The humanoid robot added that humans need to understand the impact of their actions on the present and future, adding politicians and business leaders can be made accountable through algorithms, artificial intelligence. I don't know why I had that one in there. That had nothing to do with what we just read about this underworld. So, this picture right here is very significant because it literally is. Let's just go back and talk about this. It literally is on this right here. Everything that the Mayans, the Aztecs, Stonehenge, they all have that circle at the top with the sun looking thing, and the moon with the dot in the middle, the star in the middle. Every one of them. Every one of them. It's no coincidence. They all work together. These past two videos we have read and shown, and more on this video, these false goddesses are all linked to the same false goddess, Ishtar, Astaroth, Sekhmet, this false goddess in Egypt, but more of Neith, Tanit. These all go back to this one with the hand. You know, this hand, this evil eye that everybody seems to be all up in, goes back to this Tanit, which the goddess and the god are androgynous. So, are they the same thing? There is no male or female in heaven, from what I read so far. So, does that mean that you know, this Astaroth is Baal? Baal is Astaroth? I don't know. But I just know that everything that Baal symbolized, everything that symbolized Baal symbolizes Astaroth. And all through history, all these false goddesses and gods, they have these, if they have a counterpart, it literally mimics, you know, the male counterpart or the female counterpart. You just put them together, it's the same thing. It's just they say that this is a god and this is a goddess. I just don't know. It's just very perplexing. I'll say that. All right. Well, y'all have a blessed day in the name of Yahusha, and I thank you so much for listening. For real.